Hello and welcome. My name is Alan and we are back with notable names in Pacific Islander and Asian American history. Before we jump into the video, I do want to go ahead and remind you I have two ways to donate to the channel if you are so inclined. I have a Patreon account, which is a monthly donation system, and I have a Ko-fi account, which could do much the same, but it also allows you to donate single one-time donations. If you are in financial trouble or donating will put you in financial trouble, please do not donate. I would rather you be able to take care of what you need to be taken care of, because life is tough enough for everybody out there. You don't need the extra pressure just because you want to support me or anything. But if you can and you want to, thank you. I do appreciate it. It is me, myself, and I that do make these videos. So yeah. But with that said, let's jump into this. Today, we are looking at the actress Anna May Wong, known as the first Asian American movie star. She was born Wong Lu Song in 1905 in Los Angeles and gave herself the stage name Anna May Wong. She lived in Chinatown area of Los Angeles and attended an integrated public school where she faced constant racial attacks. Every day was one of torture for us, she later said. She first auditioned for a movie when she was a teenager and was cast as an extra and would have a hard time landing a leading role due to the racism in the industry and the anti-race mixing laws that prohibited her from sharing a kiss with a man of a different race. Though she eventually left the United States for stage work in Europe, she remains the first Asian American to become a movie star. She passed away at the age of 56 in 1961. And this was from biography, this little blurb here. Now, remember, one of the things going on in the early 1900s when it came to Asian Americans, say it with me, the Chinese Exclusion Act. And yeah, Anna May Wong suffered from it as well. This is an article from the archives.gov. In the document Form 430, application of alleged American citizen of Chinese race for pre-investigation of status, is just a small part of her Chinese Exclusion Act case file, which includes applications, transcripts of interviews, and correspondence in support of her proving her American citizenship prior to traveling abroad. Wong Lu Song, professionally known as Anna May Wong, overcame discrimination, including being limited to only supporting roles early in her career, to become the first successful Chinese American actress in the United States, and starring in over 60 films plus Broadway performances and television shows. She became the first Asian American woman to be awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The office holds Chinese Exclusion Act files created by the Calexico Substation, District 16 of Los Angeles, in the Port of Los Angeles, Nogales Substation, San Diego Substation, and San Pedro Substation offices for the Immigration and Naturalization Services. Anna May Wong traveled across the Canadian border early in her career to film motion pictures on location in Canada, and the National Archives in Seattle maintains her Chinese Exclusion Act case file documenting her travel across the border at that time. So yeah. And this is that image of the file. U.S. Department of Labor, Los Angeles, California, April 6, 1929. To Walter E. Carr, officer in charge of Immigration and Naturalization Services in Los Angeles, California. 34-year-old, 5'5", scar on the left thumb. Sir, it is my intention to leave the United States on a temporary visit abroad, departing and returning through the Chinese port of entry of San Pedro, California. I hereby apply under the provisions of Rule 16 of the Chinese regulations of the pre-investigation of my claimed status as an American citizen, submitting herewith such documentary proofs, if any, that I possess, and agreeing to appear at such time and place as may designate, and to produce then and there witnesses for oral examination regarding the claim made by me. Used to be, you wouldn't believe such shit like this was common, but Trump's made it more common again today because he's a dumbass. His administration is dumbasses. And this kind of thing feels like, yeah, this probably would be the kind of shit they would pull. Yeah. Respectfully return to the inspector in charge, officer in charge. I have approved the application on the basis of evidence submitted herewith. The Assistant District Manager, Officer in Charge, Los Angeles District, saying, yeah, she should be able to travel and return. But, yeah, just because, again, they weren't treated as citizens. Remember, we've talked about the Chinese Exclusion Act before, how it was a shit piece of legislation where they tried to deny citizenship. Which is so goddamn stupid. If you're born here, you're a citizen. That is per the U.S. law. That is per the fucking Constitution, not that this goddamn fucking administration gives a shit about the Constitution. Trump and his sycophants have sat there, ran it through a shredder, set it on fire, and taken a shit on it. But that is what's supposed to be law per the Constitution, that they are citizens. Anyway, let's go to Britannica. Born January 3rd, 1905 in Los Angeles, California, and died January 3rd, 1961 in Santa Monica, California. Asian American actor who overcame discrimination and racism to become the first Asian American to have a successful film career in Hollywood, and appeared in more than 60 movies, and also acted on television and on the stage. She was born Wong Lu Song in the Chinatown area of Los Angeles and was later given the English name Anna May. Both her parents were of Chinese heritage and was born in California. So even her parents, born in the U.S., they owned a laundromat in Los Angeles and where the family lived in a diverse neighborhood. Wong experienced racism from an early age, and she and her sister transferred to the Chinese mission school in Chinatown after being bullied at the local school. In the 1910s, studios started making movies in Los Angeles, and Wong's neighborhood was frequently used for filming. She often visited the sets and soon decided she was going to be a movie star. She combined her English and Chinese names to create the stage name Anna May Wong. In 1919, at the age of 14, she made her film debut, appearing as an uncredited extra in the silent feature The Red Lantern, and subsequently had small parts in a series of movies. We talked earlier in the blurb about how she often got bit parts early on. Her acting career. In 1921, she quit high school in order to focus on her acting career, and her first major role came in The Toll of the Sea in 1922, and her performance drew strong reviews. Additional success followed in such films as Todd Browning's Drifting in 1923 and The Thief of Baghdad in 1924, the latter of which starred Douglas Fairbanks. Wong soon became a popular figure and style icon known for an eclectic wardrobe that incorporated traditional Chinese dress and flapper designs. So yeah, remember, 1920s, the flapper girl era is going on, so not only are you traditional Chinese dress style, but flapper inspired design, so yeah. However, despite her growing celebrity, she continued to only be cast in supporting roles, many of which played on Asian stereotypes. Her career was also hampered by anti-miscegenation laws that prevented her from appearing as a romantic lead. Essentially, she could not have a romance with anybody but of her own race. Anti-miscegenation bullshit. Common in the South. Racist bastards. The racist bullshit. Tired of the constant discrimination in Hollywood, she founded her own film production company in 1924. However, it soon shut down because of her dishonest business partner. She left for Europe in the late 1920s and continued to act in movies and appeared on stage for the first time. Her notable theater credits included a London production of The Circle of Chalk in 1929, which featured Laurence Olivier. Then talking movies began to be made. She became fluent in French and German in order to expand her acting opportunities. In 1930, she returned to the United States, and that year she made her Broadway debut in On the Spot. In 1931, she starred in Daughter of the Dragon, a drama in which she played the daughter of Fu Manchu. Wong then appeared in one of her most famous films, Joseph von Sternberg's Shanghai Express in 1932. which starred Marlene Dietrich, and subsequent movies included A Study in Scarlet in 1933, Daughter of Shanghai in 1937, The Lady from Chongqing in 1942. You notice all these tend to have very Asian stylized names because they ain't going to cast her in just a blah blah blah. They wanted to purposely deal and work with the fact that, hey, she's Asian, we could use her in this movie. They didn't. She wasn't thought of as anything other than the Asian actress placeholder. I can tell you that right now, because the thought of putting her in a regular movie in just a supporting role. What are you talking about? That's yeah, unfortunately how it was. In 1951, Wong became the first Asian American to lead an American television show, The Gallery of Madame Lu Song, and in the series, which ran for one season, she played a Chinese detective. Other TV roles followed. Her final big screen appearance was the crime drama Portrait in Black in 1960. Holy crap, it ain't some ridiculous Asian name or whatever. In 1960, she became the first Asian American woman to be awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The following year, she would die of a heart attack in Santa Monica, California. In 2022, the U.S. government chose Wong as part of that year's American Women Quarters program, which features trailblazing women on quarter coin designs. In the statement regarding her selection, Wong was described as a courageous advocate who championed for increased representation and more multidimensional roles for Asian American actors. She was the first Asian American to have her likeness appear on U.S. currency. So not only the first Asian American star in movies, first Asian American to have her likeness appear on U.S. currency. So, yeah. Two first for Anna May Wong. Like I said, right here at the end, they talk about fighting for more multidimensional roles for Asian American actors. Because, like I said, all they wanted to do, hey, you're an Asian character placeholder. Because, like I said, you look at all the movies she acted in, especially early in her career, I guarantee all of them very Asia based. You think, oh, the Thief of Baghdad, but I mean, again, she's going to be from exotic China. Daughter of the Dragon. Daughter of Shanghai. Lady from Chongqing. Gallery of Madame Lu Song. It's like, can it just be five friends go out and talk for a night? So, some random thing that has nothing to do with the actual race? No, of course not. And this is from womenshistory.org. 1905 to 1961. Anna May Wong. Over 60 movies throughout her career. Let's see. Supposedly, her name, she was the second child of 8, and her birth name, Wong Lu Song, apparently means frosted yellow willows. And her family gave her an English name, Anna May. That's what they called her. Her family uh, was originally from Taishan, China, but her grandfather immigrated to the U.S. in the 1850s and opened a store in California near the area where gold had been discovered in 1848. In 1858, her father, Sam Singh, was born in California. So, yeah, parents born and raised in California. She's born and raised, and yet you got that Chinese Exclusion Act showing the pure and simple hatred and racism of some lawmakers, some people in the U.S. Singh would marry Gon Toi Lee, who had also been born in California, and they would open a laundromat together on North Figueroa Street in Los Angeles. And when Anna May was born, the family lived in a diverse neighborhood, and the children attended California Street Public Elementary School. Anna May Wong and her older sister were teased and bullied because of their race, and her parents later moved them to Chinese mission school in Chinatown, where they were welcome. It still, I don't get how people, well, kind of a side story to this, but if you've ever watched DC's animated series Creature Commandos, there's a character known as Nina. It starts out she's a child who was born with her lungs outside her body. But her father, being this genius scientist, develops a way to allow her to breathe and experience life. But he kept having to build larger pieces as she grew older. So finally he decides, after the strain it puts on his relationship with his wife, kind of ends their relationship, he decides he's going to try to do something to make life for his daughter easier. So he has to no longer build her any more big contraptions to keep her breathing. And he's able to infuse her DNA with an aquatic creatures, but what it does is she grows gills and has to stay underwater. It changes some of her looks too. But she no longer requires the larger machine. She can breathe underwater. But when he tries to give her some semblance of socialization, because she's never really experienced life with other children, she's in the school, and it just shows how hateful we can be from a young age. And it's like, where does this vile behavior in humankind come from, you wonder? But anyway, growing up Wong worked in her family's laundromat and attended Chinese language classes after school. Film production moves from New York to California in 1910, and she starts visiting the movie sets. Would often skip school and use her lunch money to go to the movies. At the age of 9, she decided she wanted to become a movie star and came up with a stage name, Anna May Wong. And at the age of 11, by combining her English and Chinese names. So yeah, in 1919, a casting call went out for Chinese women in the new film called The Red Lantern. And without her father knowing, she asked her father's friend to introduce her to assistant director of the movie. She was cast as an extra and was asked to carry a lantern in one of the scenes. This was her first movie role, but not the last. She continued to work as an extra in many movies while attending school, and in 21 dropped out of Los Angeles High School to become an actress full time. She landed a role in Toy Ling's wife in the film Bits of Life, and at age 17 landed her first leading role in The Toll of the Sea, the first feature-length film made by Technicolor. The movie was a silent version of a movie called Madame Butterfly, which is a very Asian themed movie, if I remember correctly. Wong continued to audition for lead roles, but would always get cast as a supporting character or as the typical Asian characters. Anti-miscegenation laws in the U.S. at the time prevented interracial marriages and even prevented interracial actors from kissing on screen. It would prevent Wong from landing leading roles in some romantic movies, and in March of 24, she created her own production company called Anna May Wong Productions, so that she could make her own films about her culture. However, the company closed after her business partner was caught using bad business practices. After many years trying to get work in American films, she left Hollywood due to constant discrimination and moved to Europe and starred in a number of plays and films, including Schmutziges Geld in 1928, Piccadilly in 1929, and her first talking film in 1930 called The Flame of Love. She also starred in the operetta Taschen Sushi in fluent German, and in the play A Circle of Chalk with Laurence Olivier. In the 1930s, Paramount Studios in the U.S. contacted Wong and promised her leading roles upon her return, and she would return to the U.S. and star in the Broadway production of On the Spot. In November 1930, her mother was hit by a car in front of the family's home. The rest of the family stayed in the family home until 1934, when they returned to China. While working on films in the U.S., she was still asked to play stereotypical Asian roles, and when the director of the film, Dangerous to Know, asked her to use Japanese mannerisms while playing a Chinese character, she refused. Wong later accepted another stereotypical role in The Daughter of the Dragon because she was promised that she would be able to appear in a Joseph von Sternberg film. She later appeared in one of her most famous films, Shanghai Express, with her friend Marlene Dietrich. After the movie in 1932, she spent the next year touring China. She returned to the U.S. in the 1950s and became the first Asian American to lead a U.S. television show for her work in The Gallery of Madame Lusson. She was planning to return to film in the United States, but died on February the 3rd, 1961, of a heart attack at the age of 56. After her death, the Asian American Arts Awards and Asian Fashion Designers Group named annual awards after her. So yeah. Yeah, I think they said she was. Where did I see this? Because I saw this looking through. I'm like, really? Yeah. 1934, the Mayfair Mannequin Society of New York voted her the best dressed woman. So even though she was only getting minor parts or very relegated parts for Asians, it's like, hey, she got fashion. But yeah. Let's see. So here's an image of Wong holding a child, starring with Beatrice Bentley in A Toll of the Sea in 1922. On the cover of a Chinese magazine, The Young Companion, in 1927. Starring with Ramon Navarro in Across to Singapore. Daughter of the Dragon. Portrait by Carl van Vechten. Another photographic portrait of Anna May Wong. She looks over an extortion letter with Los Angeles District Attorney Burren Fitz. Daughter of Shanghai, taken shortly after this image was taken in 1937. But yeah, that has been a look at the first Asian American star actress, since she was in so many movies, Anna May Wong. Yeah. But, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. And it can't be some tinfoil hat wearing sources or anecdotes slapped together to try to make sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.